Hi, it's Ronick from Ask.Audio Mag. We're in the place where every synth-loving person in the world should be right now. Yep, it's the Yamaha Hall, and we're here with Nate from Yamaha to take us through some of the early incarnations in the last 40 years of Yamaha synths. Hi, Nate.
Hey, how's it going? Yeah, thanks for being here. This is great. Yeah, we're celebrating 40 years of Yamaha history making synthesizers, and we've been doing this for about a half year. And what we thought we'd do for the show is bring a lot of our vintage synthesizers out and show people the synth history that we have. So we've kind of set them up roughly chronologically, not perfectly chronologically here, to show people what we've done over the last 40 years.
Okay, I mean, this has been amazingly popular. To get a space here has just been crazy, pushing people out of the way,
Yeah.
but it's worth it.
Yeah.
Okay, so are you going to take us through, what, the CS30 first?
Yeah, the CS30 is kind of one of my favorites. A lot of hardcore synth fans really like this instrument, and this one, the one that we have here, is in really a high state of tune. I mean, it tunes really well, it functions really well, but it's just an amazing instrument. You know, you get all these crazy sounds. Of course, it'll play just normally, but it has a sequencer, and you can just make these crazy loop type things. Just these gurgly sort of. I mean, what is it that's about changing a filter that's so satisfying as a keyboard player? You're like, oh man, I'm really doing something. Whoa, dude, it's so cool. But it really is. So the CS30 is a lot of fun. There's a lot of synthesis possibilities with the CS30, and this came out in 1977. So just a really cool instrument. This has been a lot of fun to play with. I mean, we could sit here for days, but we have to be at a trade show. But it's a really cool thing.
Yeah, this is awesome. Hey, we're back with Nate from Yamaha, and we're going to look at the Yamaha VP1, the virtual acoustic synthesizer. It possibly has real mahogany. We're not sure about that quite yet. I'm not sure if you're sure about that either.
I don't remember, but it was certainly a lovely knurled wood finish for sure, yes.
It definitely feels great either way, so I'm not complaining. Now, only 3 of these were sold in the world, so to have the ability to actually see this was 1994 issue, is awesome. Nate, take it away.
Well, the interesting thing, this came at a time when we started to get into virtual acoustic instruments. So the VL came first, and it was a physical modeling instrument. So it didn't start with the concept of an oscillator through a filter through an amplifier like analog synthesizers, or digital synthesis like the DX, where it's built up additively with using sine waves to make a complicated waveform. It started with a mathematical description of a device. In the VL's case, it was a tube that you blew into. In the VP's case, it was a struck membrane or a mallet type thing. And the VP, like you said, we only sold 3. It just wasn't mass produced. One of the reasons was, at the time, everybody go way back, the Mac Quadra 950, I believe, was the top of the line computer, Macintosh computer. This had 4 of them inside of it.
Wow, okay, that's kind of crazy.
So if you remember those days, that contributed greatly to the cost. But it was an incredible instrument in the way it could take that impulse and make sound out of it. Just a quick example, some of the things you can do, you can just hold notes and make these great soundscapes. We're changing through these scenes.
That's beautiful.
So it was really capable. It would start like this sweet flute or something, and then end up distorted guitar, gong, something or other. It made these amazing soundscapes.
So this is like a sound designer's morphing paradise, really.
Yeah, and the guy who loaned it to us is a sound designer.
Also, so this is actually one of the 3 that was sold.
Yes, this is one of the 3 that was sold. He loaned it to us. He's been a good.
I was thinking that you actually had it in your attic somewhere and brought it down for the show.
I wish, but sadly, no. So, yeah. The other cool thing about this, you could hook tons of different controllers. You can see there's 3 wheels, there's the modulation ball. You could hook several different foot controllers up to it. And then each element, there are 4 elements, had a stereo output. So you could really do things with stereo, moving sounds around and mixing different things in and out. It was really a great instrument. I was fortunate enough to be able to mess around with one for quite a while because I came up as a sound designer with Yamaha, so I had access to it. But it's great to see it again after all these years. You know, it's a really cool instrument.
Like being reunited with a friend then or something.
An old friend, a dear old friend. Yes, exactly. So.
Thank you.
All right, great.
Okay, we're with probably one of the most interesting pieces, and I do not say that lightly. This belongs to somebody extremely famous. I can't say who right now, but I think you'll get an idea once you have a look at when we get close-ups in here. Awesome stuff. Okay, this is a CS80, a 1977 model. It's older than me by a year, but older than me, you know.
Yeah.
I'm not giving anything away about my age, Nate. Cool. Tell us more about it. Show us it in action, please. This is gorgeous. I just heard you playing it, and I want you guys to hear it too.
Well, the CS80, I mean, for a lot of synth fans, this is one of the, one of the ultimate instruments, and it's just an amazing, amazing instrument to play and experience. You know, there are a lot of things about this that people love, and I think, to me, when we've sat down and played with it, it's how you interact with the instrument. It's how you take what's on the panel. So this is a synthesis panel up here, but this is, I kind of think of this as the performance section. This controls how you interact with that panel. So if I get in, and I'm just playing, I can use things like the polyphonic aftertouch to bring in different notes. And of course the ribbon, everybody loves the ribbon. Bring in some notes separately. Unfortunately, one of the problems is in this particular instrument, some of the polyphonic aftertouch sensors have been, they've kind of worn out over the years, and there aren't really many replacement parts, so it doesn't work as perfectly as it should, but it's still an incredibly expressive instrument. The other great thing about the CS80, it's so fascinating how far we've become. It has 4 patch memories, and you could program those in here. Anyone who's played, it's not a perfect analogy, but it's a lot like a Hammond organ. You have your registration keys, and you could actually reprogram the non-B flat and B keys in a Hammond organ. Similar idea, it's a miniature panel that's replicated. So you could slide these however you want and have, oh my gosh, 4 whole sounds of your own in this instrument. So it was pretty amazing.
Great for the time, of course. It must have been quite a standout feature.
Yeah. So this of course has been really popular with people who've come to the show to check it out. It's a great instrument, and it's an instrument. Back in the day when everything was big, it's amazing. If you look at the back, there are wheels built into it. That's just having an idea of the size and how heavy it is. So, but great sound and a great thing to interact with and perform and play. Just the CS80.
Cool. Thank you so much. Okay, and we're back at Yamaha still in synth heaven with the Dx1, which is from 1983. It's a lot bigger than I expected, to be quite honest. I've not been around a Dx1 personally before. But it's kind of cool. In fact, we're going to have some videos up soon which will show you how to sample the Dx1 into the Motif XS series. So stay tuned for that, but we'll tell you more about that later. For now, we've got Nate here who's going to talk us through and show us the Dx1 in action.
Yeah, well, everybody, is pretty well aware of Dx7, and the Dx1 came out in 1983 around the same time, and it was essentially 2 Dx7s in a giant wooden case here, as we can see. Everyone's enjoying the synths. The cool thing about the Dx1 is it brought a lot of the programming elements into the panel. So that was one thing. FM programming in the Dx was so new to people, they didn't know what to do or how to do it. So the Dx brought a lot of that. You can see all the envelope generators, which were very different for the time. The operator, or the algorithm stack, how you construct the sound, and just a completely different panel. You could also combine 2 voices freely at any time, so you always had access to all the voices. So your banks, if you were in dual mode, you could just stack two different sounds, and you could change either one freely. So a piano and horn section, or if I wanted something else, explosion in the horn section, which I think was a very popular combination.
I can imagine.
Yeah, as it is, very musical. You could split the keyboard, of course, and it would play in single mode. 2 cartridge slots. So the Dx1 was, a very professional instrument and very capable for the day. Yeah, and then we also have the Dx7 Centennial. So in 1987, we had come out with the Dx7 II before, which had a floppy drive and that sort of thing. But to commemorate 100 years of Yamaha being a music company in 1987, we came out with the Dx7 II Centennial. And the interesting thing about this is the keys glow in the dark.
That's a really cool feature. I mean, I was still kind of stunned there by Yamaha being a music company for 100 years.
Yeah.
It kind of boggles the mind slightly to really kind of consider that, 100 years.
Yeah, and Mr. Yamaha, there was a Mr. Yamaha, and he started out making pump organs. He was traveling through Japan and happened in Hamamatsu, which is where we're still headquartered, and there was some people there that needed help with their pump organs, and he was handy, but he didn't know a lot about them. So in the course of learning how to repair them, he said, I can make these, and he started manufacturing them and started a pump organ company, which turned into a piano company and Dx7s.
Eventually we got here, yeah.
Here we are.
And the legacy continues as well.
The legacy continues. So, yeah, so a Centennial Edition Dx7, Dx1, incredible instrument, weighted action, a lot of wood on it, but just part of our synth history that we're celebrating and sharing with everybody.
Yeah, I mean, I have to say it's really quite fascinating to be here, to see it all. I can't really put it into words. I think people even more into synths than myself would completely geek out and probably faint, pass out, whatever, and just enjoy themselves. So if you're at NAMM, you've got to be here. If you're not, log on to, is there a site now that people can find out more about the synths from Yamaha?
Well, we do have a synth history on our website if you go, but there's a app we've released called Synth Book, and what it does is it has that history on it, and it has a built-in virtual analog synthesizer, so you can go and you can read about the history, but also you can play with a virtual analog synthesizer. This is it right here, actually. It's got a little control section. You can play the keys, you can connect it to your instrument and play it over MIDI. So kind of a combination. It's a great way to learn about all of these synthesizers and have a little fun playing, making a little analog music.
That's awesome. So so that's on the App Store. It's for iOS only?
iOS, yep.
Okay, we'll check it out.
Yep.
Thank you very much, Nate.
Thanks.